Hey, hello everybody. This for me is Wednesday, and as always, you've got two lives every single Wednesday. Let me check my mic. Yeah, we're good. So you had your jumping session with me this morning. Every Wednesday is a jumping session to increase your bone density, which is very, very important as you start to age. Everything I'm doing here, ladies, is all about longevity, anti-aging, biohacking, reversing aging, about pausing aging, stalling aging, and keeping you as young as possible. And in the process of that, you just look great. You lose weight. You lose a lot of weight if you've got it to lose. You get muscles. You might get abdominals. Your abdominals are there, but if they've been covered over with fat for a long time, then you've probably never seen them for a long time. So that's why we're here. It's all about helping you live as long as possible, coupled with living as healthy as possible for as long as possible. That's why you're here. You're here to protect the 70, 80, 90, 100-year-old you, 100 plus actually, now that we're getting into the realms of AI, biotech, medtech and everything, all the massive amounts of research and science that's coming out of all of the stuff that we now know we can control, we can fix, we could heal. So 100 plus is looking really likely for a lot of us. If you get this stuff sorted, you eat well, you eat clean, you minimise stressors in your life, and if you do have stress, you can navigate it, you can manage it. You've got mental clarity enough to help you achieve optimal health. So this is what Feel Look Be is. But tonight what I wanted to do is just crunch a few numbers. Now, numbers are not my forte. I can't really count that great. And if you know me, you know that. And if you've my clients that work with me regularly, absolutely know I can't count. But I can do these numbers. And I just want to bring to life for you what you actually need to do to see results. And actually, it's not much. If you're following the meal plan, which you should be because you're here and you're invested, and I hope you're invested energetically because you're only going to benefit. Just trust me on this. I have seen women go from strength to strength because of this program. They've not only got the body shape that they've always wanted, their husbands and partners are fancying them again. They've got new jobs, they're starting businesses, they've took control enough to change all the things that they weren't happy with. And that's powerful. And it's also there for you too. I want to lift you up a little bit, hold on. So, that's a bit better. Good. It's also there for you too. You too can do it. You absolutely can. And it's easier than you think. And you're always probably looking for an excuse, a way out, a reason why it can't be you that's next. I want every single one of you to be my next success story. And that's more easy now than it's ever been. And I know that better than I ever have because I'm this long into this game now. 5 years into this game, this online stuff. And I 100% get your psychology, but I also get 100% of what I'm bringing to you. And it's massive. So listen, I've asked you to eat my meal plans, whether you go down the route of tracking protein or not, you're eating the meal plans. If you're doing the protein route, you're doing 1 gram per pound, but you maybe think, why? Right, so here we go. You've probably heard of macronutrients. You get macronutrients and you get micronutrients. And generally it's the macronutrients that are tracked. And I went years and years into macro tracking and calorie counting and all that stuff. Everything that you've probably already done. You've got MyFitnessPal, you plug everything into there, you take your fibre off because fibre buffers the carbohydrate response, and you're left with how many calories you've had in any one day. Generally speaking, most people are trying to fall into a calorie deficit so as they lose weight. But the thing that they don't know is not every calorie has the same impact on the body. So 10 calories worth of broccoli has a very different impact on the body as 10 calories worth of jelly beans. And let me try and explain that to you in the easiest way possible, right? So, for every gram of protein, listen to this, for every gram of protein, like eggs, fish, chicken, beef, protein, there'll also be fat in there, for example, eggs and beef, not so much chicken, but unless you eat the skin, of course, which I sometimes do. It's amazing for electrolytes. And I love crispy skin, chicken skin. I really like that, sometimes, not all the time. So for every gram of protein, there are 4 calories, 4. For every gram of carbohydrates, there are 4 calories. So that's proteins and carbs, of which our meal plans have lots of. People think that's low carb, but it's actually, when you look at it, our meal plan, every vegetable is a carbohydrate, but it has fibre in there, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. So there's proteins, there's fats, there's proteins, carbohydrates. For every gram of fat, there are 9 calories. So you think, all right, so there's double the amount of calories in fats. And on our meal plans, we eat a lot of good fats. Good fats. The bad fats are the canola oil, cottonseed oil, the seed oils and the bean oils, the trans fats, the fats that are on your list as the not allowed. Foods that you're not allowed, the bad fats will be on there. Deep fat fried things that have been fried in vegetable oils, that sort of thing. They're the bad fats. The good fats are what's on your meal plan. The animal fats, the fish fats, the oily fish, I mean. So 4, 4 and 9. And you can understand then why people who are tracking their calories think, oh, I better not eat fat because it's double the calories. And so they eat all of this processed, a lot of the time actually, it's man-made protein. It's not animal protein. And carbohydrates are the bulk of what they eat in the form of pasta, rice cakes, low-fat cereal bars, protein bars. And if you'll read the ingredients of these bars, it's dark reading, because the impact that all of that has on your health is not good. So if you're taking care of the basics, then those things matter. If you want longevity and health and longer term goals, results, then when you buy into the basics and you see them play out on the scales, on your clothes, when you look at your face, it's really, really rewarding, and that's you controlling the basics. Therefore, everything else makes a lot of sense when you've got the basics right. You might start looking at your alcohol consumption because you've got the basics right. If you don't have the basics right, you know what it's like. If you're off the rails and you're eating all the crap of the day, drinking alcohol's neither here nor there, you go, yeah, okay, might as well. But when you take care of the basics and you've got them right, you're like, no, I'm not spoiling this by consuming alcohol, polluting my body with alcohol. Why would I? Because you've got the basics right. And the basics are the easy part. That's the easy bit. You think it's hard, but it's just a shift in mindset. That's all it is. But when you realise the numbers of this, so let me take this a stage further then. So proteins and fats have 4. Proteins and carbs have 4. Fats have 9. But fats, good fats that are on your meal plan, are doubly as filling. So that's why when you get into the meal plan, you're not as hungry. Added to that, you're not eating snacks. So you can go meal to meal without snacking because you're not hungry, because there's double the calories. But the impact on a hormone called insulin is negligible, like almost zero, when you eat fats. When you eat carbohydrates and protein, insulin production from the pancreas is high. And in the presence of insulin, you cannot burn fat. You cannot use fat. You'll only store. So whenever you've got insulin in your body, as a result of what you eat, you're in fat storage mode, not fat burning mode. That's even if you've spent 2 hours in the gym. So you're right, okay. So it's a bit convoluted then, isn't it? Yeah, it definitely is. And that's why you need people like me to break it down for you so the science is completely simplified. So as you could see this working, you can basically test the meal plan. It's the meal plan in action. And you'll start to see that in your face, your skin, your hair, your nails, your aches, your pains, your abdominals will pop out, the weight will fall off you on the scales, but you're eating 3 square meals and they're filling meals. Never asked you to count a calorie yet, and I never will. Never asked you to track your macros yet, and I never will, unless you are training for some sort of sports event or you're a bodybuilder and you're going on the stage, and then we need to count at that point. For optimal health, you eat until you're full, you do not overeat, and you realise the impact of the food that you eat. So, going back to the broccoli and the jelly beans. Broccoli is carbohydrates and it's fibre. A little bit of protein. Carbohydrates mainly and fibre. Carbohydrates spike blood sugar, but the fibre buffers it. The fibre brings the impact of the carbohydrate spike down. So in the presence of fibre, carbohydrate, the impact is minimal. So that's why fruit, when it's on the meal plan, is okay. Not all of the time because there is fructose in there, but that's why vegetables are on our meal plan lots. They're carbohydrate, but they've got lots of fibre in there, and your gut needs fibre. You feed the gut with fibre, the bacteria will feed on the fibre and not your lining of your gut wall. There's no fibre in there. If you've got a fibreless diet, you've probably got a gut issue, maybe even SIBO, small bacterial overgrowth, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and you may have GERD, acid reflux, belching, burping, farting, you name it, you're doing it. You eat something, you don't feel great. The bacteria in there are going nuts. They're screaming for fibre. But when your diet is poor and the carbohydrate content is high because of the pasta, rice, cereals, biscuits, cakes, waffles, that, there is no fibre. It's a fibreless diet. So the bad bacteria are getting bigger in number and they're feeding on your gut lining. That's why you get tears in your gut wall that looks like leaky gut. The tight junction, it's supposed to be tight junctions in your gut, they start to slacken off because the lining is being eroded by the bacteria and you get leaky gut. And you could develop an autoimmune condition because your diet is so poor. So, park that for now. You know now that carbohydrates and protein spike insulin. When your insulin is spiked, you're in fat storage mode. When you eat fat, minimal insulin production, you could still burn fat even though you're eating fat. And there's a great book, it's called Eat Fat, Get Thin. Where is it? Here it is. Eat Fat, Get Thin by Dr. Mark Hyman, or Heyman, whatever you want to call it. And you'll see it's an avocado, good fats. That's why. In a nutshell, condensed, simplified science, like really simplified, that's why. So eat good fats, good moderate amounts of protein with lots of fibre, some carbohydrates, amazing. Do what your personal trainer's telling you to do and track calories and macros, which forces you down a mindset of, well, fats are double the calories, so I better just stay away from them and I better start eating rice cakes and protein bars and pastas and rices and breads and all this sort of stuff. So it's a retraining of the mind. That's what it is. It's a retraining and it's a relearning. Actually, I'm helping you unlearn to then relearn. I am unlearning you to help you relearn what actually works for longevity and health. It can't just be about weight loss. It can't. You have to get healthy and then you'll lose the weight. It can't be about losing the weight to get healthy, as far as I'm concerned anyway. Unless you're critically obese and you're about to die because of how obese you are, then that's different. But for most of us, get healthy, lose the weight. That is the right order of things. Okay? So, if it takes 3,500 calories to lose 1 pound, which it does, you could think about how much you need to move. Now, I've asked you to do 10,000 steps a day. And 10,000 steps a day on average is roughly 400 to 500 calories. So if you're burning 400 to 500 calories, depending on the terrain, for example, if it's hilly or not, if it's your body weight, your age, your gender, but generally speaking, 400 to 500 calories, and you're doing the workouts, you can track the calories on that if you want. It's fine to track your calories on expenditure, but tracking your calories on input, I don't recommend, for reasons that I've just told you. But you can get a gauge on how much calories you're actually burning. So over the course of the week, if that adds up to 3,500 calories or more, then you're set to lose at least a pound. What about if you join in, I've got a 5k club on Strava. What if you do a 5k a week? It might not be a full run of 5k, because that's, God, I'm knackered at that. But it might be a run, jog, walk, or it might be a fast sort of power walk. And if you do a couple of them a week, God, that's going to bump it right up. So you could start to see how your expenditure has an impact on your results. And the more you do generally, unless you're burning out, which you won't be, but unless you were, your results will keep going. But your body's cunning and it's tricky, and it thinks, right, okay, I'm going to put her to the test. I'm just going to halt fat loss. That's why some weeks you've got a complete anomaly. You stay the same and you've done more than you've ever done. You ran a marathon, you've done a triathlon, you were up Ben Nevis, and you've had the best sleep of your life all week. You get on the scales expecting to lose 4 or 5 pounds because you've got it to lose, you're overweight, and the scales stay the same. Your body's designed to do that to you. It's designed to keep you thinking, to keep you adaptable. So you might get an anomaly sometimes. In fact, most people do. So bear that in mind. It's not the end of the world. You get on the horse again and you go for it again. Weight loss isn't linear. It's not just because you decide, well, I've got a stone to lose. So if that works out at, £3 a week, I'm going to lose £3 a week and it's going to go bang, 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 bang. It doesn't work like that. Your first couple of weeks, you might lose £8. Third week, you might lose nothing. Fourth week, you might lose £4. Your body and how it functions depends on everything: your genetics, your height, your weight, your metabolism, your stress levels, how you've spent your days. There are so many moving parts that it's not just a simple equation. So now that you've got 3,500 calories equals a pound, and you know that 10,000 steps equals 400 to 500 calories, you can start working out what you actually need to do when you realise that protein, carbohydrates and fats have the calories that they have in them. So it's maybe a useful exercise to track how many calories you're burning off. Not how many you're eating. You can if you like. Of course you can. But you cannot let that influence what you're actually eating. Because the meal plan, that might be on paper 500 calories more than what you were eating before. But I'm guaranteeing you now, you will get the results eating this way. You'll get early results eating the other way, early, and then it'll plateau. And then you'll be running your metabolism into the ground. You'll get tired, you'll get hangry. You're not nourishing your body. So the functions and the endocrine system and the chemical reactions and osmosis and all the stuff that you've already learned about in biology. It can't happen. So things start to slow down and stall. And when they slow down and stall, you get things like hypothyroidism. You get things like, what else? Fibromyalgia, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, arthritis, bursitis, tendinitis, asthma. Things happen because there's something not quite right. But it's because you're not fueling your body properly. Your body needs fats, good moderate protein and fibre and carbohydrates in the form of fruit and vegetables. Not in the form of bread, not in the form of gluten. Fruit and vegetables. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. Dead easy, dead simple, but gives you maybe a challenge in your mind. And sometimes at the weekends I ask you to do 15,000 steps a day. So work out how many calories that is. In fact, get a wearable device like a watch or the Oura Ring or something and track your calories. See how many you've done. And it becomes really quite motivational because you try and beat yourself each week. But the thing that you can't do is beat yourself up when you haven't quite done as well as you thought. What you need to think about is growth mindset. I will do more tomorrow. I will do more over the weekend. Haven't done it yet, but I will. You've got to be growth mindset the whole time. If you come into a barrier, and some people are like that, some people expect weight loss every single week. They expect it, just expect. And when that doesn't happen, it knocks them back. And they make that excuse that they went to the Chinese for a Chinese takeaway. They went to the Indian for an Indian takeaway. They went to the pizza shop, the kebab shop. It was because that happened. That's not the way to be. That's so defeatist. And that's actually a lack mentality. You need to change the pattern that you're on. Okay, it didn't happen this week, but it's not because I didn't try enough. It's just because my body's trying to trick me because it wants me to be adaptable and change things up. And that's exactly why it is. Your body's amazing. Your mind is amazing. But your survival mode is something else. Your body will try and force you to grow and change and evolve. Meanwhile, inherently, you're wired for survival. So staying safe is what your mind will tell you. Stay safe, don't do that. Don't jump out that plane. Don't dare abseil up that cliff. Abseil down that cliff. Don't dare get in that water, it's too cold. Don't dare eat that meal plan because you're going to look hot. You're going to look far too hot. And actually, you're going to be stepping out of bikinis and going out again, and you just get back here. That's your brain. So you're in this constant fluctuation between adapting, keeping you safe. So there we go. I hope that's made sense to everybody. Tomorrow or Thursday, so I see you tomorrow night for a strength workout at 7 p.m. So you're starting to get a flavour of this now. So you've got mindset work, you've got education, you've got workouts, you've got community, you lot here, you've got my team. This really is a one-stop shop to help you be the very best you could be. I'm right by your side, all of you. Listen, I've got a retreat that happens in March. It's coming up, March 2026. And I've never talked to you about it yet because I give my lifestyle clients first dibs. I'm now opening it up to the public, and i.e. everybody else that I work with, in particular Feel It Be. If you want to come to Thailand with me and spend 10 days with me, immersed in health, paradise, coconuts, beaches, amazing gyms, massages, food to absolutely die for, great banter, great laughs, making the most incredible memories, you need to message the team. Message the team, support@shelleybooth.co.uk and say, look, I want more details, send me them, I'm really interested in coming to the retreat. The people that have already booked on, what an amazing group of people. You don't need to know anybody, in fact it's better when you don't. People that came to the first retreat got to know each other, now they're probably lifelong friends. This will be my 4th retreat, but there'll be no retreat like it. This will be by far the best yet. All of the genetic testing that I have had done, all the blood work that I've had done will be there for you if you want it, and I'll make sure people look after you with that. That's optional. But I'll be getting you a body scan as part of the package. Everything, your food, your accommodation, everything else is taken care of. We'll be sightseeing, we'll be going to temples, we'll be doing tons of stuff. And it will be memories that will last an absolute lifetime and some. If there's a second life, you'll carry them into the second life. It will be that good. So if you're interested, message me, support@shelleybooth.co.uk. We'll take a deposit and then you could pay up. And I'm not going to talk about months because I'll trip myself up here, but there's a clear plan for you to pay it up so you can actually afford to go. It doesn't include flights, you need to get your own flights, but if you get them now, it's going to be cheaper than it is ever for the rest of, certainly between now and March. It's going to be amazing. Message us if you want to go. Okay, everybody, lots of love. See you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Take it easy.